not stop the development from happening, what does this mean for y'all?
Well, obviously, it's a victory along the way. I think a pretty decisive victory. It's certainly a victory for the people of San Antonio. It's a victory for the aquifer itself. Remember the aquifer. And I think it will spur us on. Obviously, it lifts our spirits. It shows that you can win against a rigged system. And so we'll be pushing on, as you mentioned, to the legislature and the TCEQ to defend this.
I think there is a big misunderstanding that this means this stops the development from going forward. So they can technically ask the TCEQ to approve the MUD. How does that work?
Well, we've heard two divergent theories on that. One is that when the property is in the ETJ, if the city denies consent, that the TCEQ won't touch it. The other is that they can go to the TCEQ, but in order to do that, they have to file a petition with the city and enter the 120-day negotiating period, and only at the end of that can they then move on to the TCEQ.
So where do y'all go from here? I know you continue to hold up the permitting process at TCEQ by filing that lawsuit. Are you still pursuing conservation? What's the next step?
Yeah, we have kind of a three-pronged attack here. One is conservation, of course. That's what we would ultimately like to see. That's best for the city of San Antonio, best for the aquifer. Then we're also pursuing rigorously in the courts the appeal. Right now we're in the judicial review process, and we feel like we have a very good case there. There were significant due process violations in the contested case hearing, and depending upon how much the city wants to cooperate with us, we think we can win in the judicial review process. And then, of course, last but not least is the legislature, and as you heard today, Ray Lopez is initiating a study preparing for the 90th legislative session. And if Lennar tends to go that route, if they go the legislative route, they're looking at least a couple more years delay.
So if they take that route, what do you want to see council do? What kind of changes?
There are a number of changes. I think if you saw the article by Amy Hardberger last week, the fact that developers come to SAWS for water before they come to the city for development permission is really backward, because once you have water, it's a fait accompli to get the rest of it going. It's like someone gave us water, so the fix is in. That's really backward of the way this should work. There are also a lot of internal things within the city that we have learned about that we think need to be tweaked, resolved in terms of how the city approaches development. So we'll be working on those things with the city as well.
Do you have a message for Lennar?
You know, our beef is not so much with Lennar per se, it's with any developer that wants to do something like this. And I think the real concern behind all of this is that this is a Trojan horse. This is moving in over the most environmentally sensitive area of San Antonio and trying to ram a permit through. And if this happens, it sets a precedent and it's all over but the crying. So our water will suffer dramatically if this development happens. So we just happen to be on the leading edge of the fight.
This is a roadblock for the developer. So timeline-wise, does it back up the project if they continue to push forward by months, by years, if they pursue the state level?
Well, yes, pursuing at the state level is at least getting a bill introduced in 2027 when the legislature meets again. So that's at least, a year and close to 2 years actually before that happens. The other thing is that if the judge remands or vacates the permit, it could go back to, if it's a remand, it could go back to the TCEQ, and that could add 12 to 24 months to the process. If the judge vacates the permit, which is a real possibility, then Lennar would have to start the whole process all over. And you've heard them complain about how long this has taken. So we're hoping that it's a death by 1,000 cuts.
So if it is a major roadblock, you would say this really puts the brakes on Lennar for at least 1 to 2 years or more.
It certainly doesn't stop them, but it changes the way they can develop it. If it were me, I wouldn't invest $15 million in a wastewater plant when it wasn't sure whether I would be able to operate it or not.
Randy, can you say your name for everyone?
Randy Newman,
Spell it, please.
Neumann, Chair of the Scenic Loop Helotes Creek Steering Committee.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank y'all for your time.
Are they coming?
Spelling, NDU